Welcome to Thoughts Can Change Your Life with me, Reverend Lee. Something that I have to remind myself of and remind others of all the time is that we're never alone. No matter what you're going through, no matter what you're facing, there are other people out there going through similar things, facing similar situations. The key thing to remember is that we can learn from each other. We can learn from each other of those who have gone before us, and we can teach those who are coming after us. We can also understand that there's strength and hope in seeing others overcome their obstacles, and that we provide strength and hope as we overcome ours for those who are watching us. This is really critical. Be really understanding of the idea that everything in your life, people are watching. And everything in other people's lives that are around you, you are watching. And we have an influence on each other, a huge, huge, huge influence on each other, because we're all connected. We're all points of consciousness. We're all part of the one consciousness. We're all part of this thing we call life. And here's the key thing I want to remind us of. We were not meant to be alone. We're not alone in any way, shape, or form or fashion. Relationships are the key to living a fulfilled life, because it's through relationships that we discover ourselves. We find our truth. We find our passion. We connect. We heal. We experience contrast. And all of those things are essential to life. If there were no relationships, would there be contrast? No, we wouldn't be connected. But think about that. I believe, there's an infinite consciousness, and that each of us is a point of consciousness within the infinite consciousness. Now, you'll argue, say, well, how do you know that? Well, if we weren't, how would you understand anything I'm saying? How would you understand anything anyone else is saying if there wasn't one consciousness? Because if there were more than one consciousness, we wouldn't be able to connect with each other. We wouldn't see each other. We wouldn't do anything like that. So that to me is the greatest proof that we're not alone, that we're part of something greater than we are. I look at it this way. This is a sort of an abstract example, but let's say we're all a part of a sailing vessel. You could be the steering wheel. You could be a mast. You could be a sail. You can be a hull. You can be the rudder. You can be this. But we're all on the journey of life. And we influence each other. And when we work together, when we come together, oh my God, life is so, so much easier. It's that when we try to struggle and we try to fight the journey of life alone, that we feel helpless. We feel despair. We feel anxiety. We have fear. But if we're with each other on the journey, and we know that we're with each other on the journey becomes much more enjoyable. The interesting thing was, I can tell you all the journeys I've had. And I go back to the journey when I was in Uttarkashi, India in 2013. And there I was in the foothills of the Himalayas going through a silent meditation retreat, got caught in the worst flooding in over 100 years. Thousands of people died, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people homeless, more damage that I've witnessed than anywhere in my life. I was literally a refugee. And the great thing about that journey was I knew I wasn't alone. Not only did I know there was a higher power, but I was connected with other individuals, in particular, my friend Naranjan. That journey in 2013 solidified a friendship that's lifelong. Because as we were together going through that journey, there was no fear. We fed off of each other's strengths. We fed off of each other's energy. And it was in that as tired as we were, as little sleep as we were, as much physical activity as we did, we didn't give up. We had more energy because of each other. This is the idea of knowing that no matter what you're dealing with, there are others who are dealing with it. And if you come together, we can take the journey together, feed off of each other, support each other, inspire each other, and the journey becomes an adventure. It's not something you regret. It's an adventure. This is one of the things that I really love about life. I love the adventures of life because that's where you get to test yourself. That's where you get to find out your greatness, your expansiveness. You get to find out how you connect with others in situations that are very taxing and trying. It's easy when you're not being challenged, but when you're being challenged, that's when we find out what we're made of. I believe that's why we're here, to challenge ourselves, to express more, to connect more. I believe that everything that one experiences is for the purpose of making them more aware that they're not as small as they think they are, but rather they're bigger than they could ever dream. Because the consciousness that you have is part of the one consciousness, and that one consciousness is infinite. But because of our small mind, our mind that is very narrow focused, guess what? We only experience a very small part of the infinite consciousness, and yet we have the capacity to experience more and more and more. And I believe that's the journey of life, to experience more. And I think we'll be on that journey for eternity. I don't think that journey will ever end. I know it will end in this body that I'm in, but the soul, the aspect of consciousness that I am, never ends. It never stops. It never becomes less. It expands in its awareness. You see, it's already everything. It's just, I'm seeking to become more aware of that. With that, I share with you, I'm going to start offering classes a week from tomorrow and a week from Tuesday. One is Spiritual Foundations, that's 10 weeks, and one is the 7 Secrets of Success by Deepak Chopra. If you're interested, go to Agape Spiritual Center. If you enjoy these talks, trust me, you'll enjoy a class with me, because those are where we go deep. Those are where the rubber meets the road. There's where we get to face those roadblocks that are stopping us from becoming more. With that, know that I've got a talk coming out at 12:30, a service. And if you're here in town, you can come to my in-person service. Otherwise, I've got everything out there for you online. Know that I love you. I care about you. I'm here to support you. You and only you can make this your best day ever. So go ahead, make it happen. Until next time, aloha.